So today on the 350Z, we're gonna be painting the calipers because the previous owner, or one of the previous owners, had painted them yellow, and I'm honestly just not a fan of that yellow. But before we get started on painting the calipers, we're gonna move the car off of this incline because we're gonna jack it up on jack stands, and I don't wanna be rolling down this hill whenever I'm on my creeper. Give you guys the cold start, even though it's 9 degrees outside. Holy crap, it's hot in here. So now that we got the car, oh my God, bro, come on. So now that we got the car moved, we're gonna move my truck over next to it because all my jack and jack stands are in there, and I ain't trying to walk this far every time. Round 2. Now that we got everything situated and ready to go, it's time to jack the car up. So I went ahead and got the car jacked up and the wheels off, obviously. Now, I'm gonna be doing this the lazy way, which I don't recommend if you plan on keeping your brake calipers or your brake setup for long term, but not only do I plan on replacing these calipers eventually, I also live in an apartment complex, and I don't feel like completely removing the calipers and then having to bleed my brakes and all that crap in the parking lot. So I'm going to just be leaving the calipers on where they are, and I'm going to be masking off the entire wheel well and the fender, and I'm just going to be painting them as they sit. Like I said though, if you're going to be keeping your brakes permanently or long term at least, I definitely recommend taking them off and being able to sand down the entire caliper and doing it the correct way. It'll turn out a lot better and it'll last a lot longer. So the first thing we're gonna do is clean the entire caliper. Now I recommend using brake cleaner and a microfiber cloth and maybe some steel wool, but I thought I had brake cleaner, but I can't find it anywhere. So I'm just gonna use degreaser and some iron remover and my steel wool and get it as clean as I can. So I think this is the first time I've ever actually used steel wool, and I'm learning that I don't like it. So now it's pretty clean, but I just noticed some scratches here on the bottom, so I'm gonna take some 800 grit sandpaper and just try to get those out as good as I can. I went ahead and sanded the main surface a little bit too because there were some very light scratches, but also mainly because I'm gonna be putting a decal there and I wanna make sure it sticks good and looks good. But now that we got it clean with the degreaser and the iron remover, I'm gonna take some trash bags and I'm going to completely mask off this entire wheel well and a little bit of the fender, and I'm gonna go ahead and mask off all the tiny bits around the caliper that we don't want painted. So the way I'm gonna do it is to take an entire trash bag and open it up and then just rip it down the seams so that you have one big plastic piece. And you're gonna come over to where the caliper is, somewhere in the middle, make a small, very small hole, and then you're gonna take that hole and you're kind of just, stupid wind. So you're gonna make a really small hole, and then you're gonna take this hole and just kind of stretch it around the caliper, but don't make the hole too big. You want it to just kind of tuck up against the inside of the caliper. Now that I got it around the caliper, I'm going to take some tape and tape up the rest of the bag to cover as much of the wheel well as I can. So I've got it taped off pretty crappily, but I am running out of daylight and I want to at least get one of these done tonight. So I am going to go ahead and start the painting process, and I'm probably going to have to finish the other 3 tomorrow, but for you watching this video, it won't really make a difference. So now that it's all masked off, I'm gonna take some acetone and a microfiber and I'm just gonna clean over the caliper one last time to try to get any contaminants off of it that I can. And then after that, I'm gonna take my primer and I'm gonna lay the first coat. So this first coat of primer is actually gonna be super light. It's actually called a tack coat. You don't wanna go too heavy on the first coat. So I'm gonna hit it with this first coat. I just said first coat so many times, but I'm gonna hit it with this first coat, and then I'm gonna wait about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna hit it with 2, 3, 4 coats, and I can progressively get thicker coats. And that's all you need for that first coat. I actually probably went a little bit too much, so it'll be all right. Don't want paint on my lens. Now, I'm not gonna bore you with the entire painting process because that just gets old. So I'll come back whenever I have the primer completely on and it's ready for the black to be sprayed. So I just finished laying my last coat of primer. It took about 3 coats to finish up. It looks pretty good. Now, I would have masked off better, masked off all this. However, whoever painted them yellow had not done that, so they were all yellow and sprayed on there, and I didn't want to leave that yellow on there. I wanted it to all be black. I don't want you to see any yellow anymore, so I had to go ahead and paint over that. Now, I'm gonna let this dry for a few more minutes, and then I'm gonna start laying my black. So the primer dries pretty fast, so it's already dry. So now I'm gonna start hitting it with my paint. Again, starting out with a very light coat and then working more heavily, and so on. Once again, I definitely went too heavy on the first coat, but it'll be all right. I am using the last bit of this can that was left over from whenever I resprayed my wheels. So it is spattering a little bit, but I mean, I don't really care if it's perfect. I don't want to have to go buy more paint. So I do have another can, but I'm gonna make that one work. So after this dries here in about 5 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and finish laying the rest of the coats. But again, I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. So I'll be back whenever the black coats are finished.
3 hours later.
So I've just finished up the last coat of black and it's looking pretty good. Let me see if I can get you guys in here closer. I'm losing my lighting, so it's not coming out great, but oh, that black looks so much better than that yellow. So I still have to put a couple layers of clear coat, but this is pretty much what it's gonna be like. And again, I do have a decal that's gonna be going on here, but I'm not gonna do that until after I've painted all of the calipers so that I can finish it off right. Plus, I need to let it dry overnight. So now that I've got the last coat of black on there, I'm gonna give it about 5 to 10 minutes to dry, and then I'm gonna start hitting it with my clear coat and do 1 or 2 coats of that. And then I'm gonna wait a few minutes before I take off all of the bags, and then after that, I'm gonna move on to the other calipers, which will actually be tomorrow because it's about to be dark. So I got it all unmasked and I think that it came out very, very well. I was honestly expecting around these edges where I had the bag to not come out so clean, but the bag actually did a very good job of tucking up underneath the caliper and masking it pretty well. So I ended up putting 2 layers of clear coat on it, and I think it gives it a nice shine. Now I'm gonna let it dry overnight, and then I'm gonna come back tomorrow and do the other 3 since it is getting dark. I'm gonna let it dry overnight, and then I'm gonna come back tomorrow and finish off the other 3, as well as put the decals on them. But it is getting dark right now, which is why I can't finish it right now. But I did want to get this one out of the way so that I could see how it was gonna go. It has been rainy all day, and I was starting to think that I wasn't going to be able to finish up the calipers today, but luckily we got a little bit of sunshine. The rain went away, so I ran out here and I started working on the calipers. So I already got this front one up here on the driver's side cleaned off and masked off, and I actually had to do a little bit more on this one because there was paint chips in a couple different spots. So I took some sandpaper and I sanded it down just to try to get a little bit smoother. It's not perfect, but it definitely is much better, and it's gonna look much better than it would have after we get the paint laid. So I got this one all masked off, ready to go, as well as this other rear side back here, taped off, sanded, cleaned, ready to go. Now I was gonna go ahead and do this one and knock them all 3 out at the same time, but as you can see, I turned the steering wheel to make the other side easier, which in turn made this side harder. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint the 2 sides that I have masked off, and then we're gonna come back and finish off that last front driver's side. So I don't know how I continue to do this, but I keep not making outros for my videos for whatever reason, so here I am. Sorry, I gotta hide from the sun. So I did end up getting all of the brake calipers finished. I pretty much did them all the exact same way as I did the first one that I showed you. So here is the very first one that I did. As you can see, I actually have scratched it up a little bit doing other things, but that's just how it goes. So they are holding up pretty good though. As you can see, I got the Brembo decals. For anyone that doesn't know, these are Brembos. I'm not faking it. I'm not a ricer. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit of a ricer because I put the stickers on there, but they're real Brembos. Oh my god, I keep dropping my camera. Anyway, here's this one. The other rear is the exact same, just like the other side. And then the fronts have the bigger Brembo sticker, looking hella clean. They are super dirty though, so they're not actually that clean. But they all came out very nice. The wheel is completely in the way of this, but they all came out real nice. I'm super happy with them. Yes, they could have been done better. Like I said earlier, if I would have taken off the calipers to paint them, but I just didn't want to do that in the parking lot of my apartment complex, mainly because I'm not even supposed to be working on my car at all here, but we do what we gotta do. So here's the last one, the passenger front. Yeah, the passenger front. I mean, it looks the same as the other side did. Yeah, they all came out pretty good. Super happy with them. Oh, lighting's terrible over here. So yeah, I'm super happy with how they came out. 10 out of 10 recommend. It didn't even cost that much money. It was like not even 2 cans of black paint, maybe 2 cans of primer, and then like 1 can of clear coat. So fairly inexpensive. I mainly just wanted to get rid of that yellow. It looked kind of tacky to me. If done right, it could have looked good, but I just didn't want it. Plus, I'm kind of murdering out my car for the time being. So yeah, I just had a couple different reasons to do it. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. It helps boost the algorithm and push my videos out to more people so that I can grow. If you're not subscribed already, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the 350 build, because I know you don't want to miss out on that. Other than that, my paint is so bad. Other than that, y'all take it easy. Also, these rear wheels back here are my new drift spares, so if you notice that, that's what those are. Okay, bye.